He could save her or solve the case. His choice will break your heart. Detective Marcus Hale's hand trembles as he holds the photograph under the dim light of his desk lamp. It's 2:47 a.m., and the precinct is empty except for the hum of fluorescent lights and the distant wail of sirens somewhere in the city. The photograph shows a woman entering the Meridian Hotel at 11:43 p.m. on the night of the murder. Her face is partially obscured by the collar of her coat, but Marcus doesn't need to see her face. He knows that walk. He knows the way she tucks her hair behind her left ear when she's nervous. He knows because he's watched her do it 100 times across candlelit tables and rain-soaked streets. The woman in the photograph is Elena Voss, and Elena Voss is the woman he's been falling in love with for the past 6 months. Marcus sets the photo down and reaches for the case file. Senator Richard Castellano, found dead in room 847 of the Meridian Hotel, single gunshot wound to the chest. Time of death, approximately midnight. The senator had been under investigation for corruption, laundering money through offshore accounts, connections to organized crime. He was 2 days away from testifying before a grand jury. Someone wanted him silenced, and now every piece of evidence Marcus has gathered points to one conclusion he refuses to accept. He met Elena at a gallery opening in March. She was standing alone in front of a painting, a dark, turbulent seascape, and when he asked her what she thought of it, she said, "It looks like someone trying to escape something they can never outrun." The honesty in her voice had struck him. In a city built on lies and carefully constructed facades, Elena seemed different, real. She worked as an art consultant, traveled frequently, kept odd hours. She was private about her past, but Marcus understood privacy. In his line of work, everyone had secrets. Their relationship had been cautious, slow. Stolen evenings between his cases and her business trips. Conversations that lasted until dawn. A kiss in the rain outside her apartment that made him feel like a teenager again, instead of a 38-year-old detective who'd seen too much darkness. But now, sitting in the cold fluorescence of an empty precinct, Marcus forces himself to look at the evidence like a detective, not a man in love. Elena told him she was in Boston the night of the murder. A last-minute client meeting, she'd said. But the timestamp on this security footage says otherwise. She was here, in the city, in the same hotel where Senator Castellano died. Marcus pulls up the hotel's guest registry on his computer. No Elena Voss checked in, but room 831, 2 floors below the murder scene, was registered to a Victoria Crane. He runs the name. It's an alias, one of several connected to a shell corporation based in the Cayman Islands. His phone buzzes. A text from Elena. "Can't sleep? Thinking about you? Coffee tomorrow?" Marcus stares at the message. His thumb hovers over the keyboard, but he doesn't reply. Instead, he opens another file. The senator's financial records, which took him 3 months and 2 subpoenas to obtain. There it is, buried in the data. A payment of $2.3 million to the same shell corporation connected to Victoria Crane. The payment went out 6 months ago, March, the same month he met Elena. Marcus closes his eyes. Every instinct honed over 15 years in homicide is screaming at him that this isn't coincidence. The timing is too perfect. The alias is too clean. The connection is too direct. But then he remembers the way she looked at him last week, her hand in his as they walked through the park. She'd stopped under a streetlight and said, "I need to tell you something." His heart had stopped. But then she'd smiled, sad, beautiful, and said, "I think I'm falling for you. And that terrifies me." He'd kissed her instead of asking why it terrified her. Now he wishes he'd asked. The elevator dings at the end of the hall. Marcus quickly closes the files and pockets the photograph. Detective Sarah Chen steps out, coffee in hand. Surprise registering on her tired face. "Hale, what are you doing here at 3 in the morning?" "Couldn't sleep. The Castellano case." Sarah moves closer, studying him. They've been partners for 4 years. She knows his tells. "You found something." It's not a question. Marcus considers lying, but Sarah would see through it. Instead, he deflects. Following a lead on the financial connections, Castellano moved money through Shellcore, still tracing the recipients. "The captain wants this closed, Marcus. Pressure from above. You know how it works with politicians." She pauses. "You look like hell. When's the last time you slept?" "Sleep is overrated." "So is burning out." Sarah sets her coffee down and leans against his desk. "Is this about her?" Marcus feels his jaw tighten. "What?" "Elena, the woman you've been seeing. You think I don't notice when my partner's distracted? You've been different the last few months. Lighter. Now you look like someone died." "Someone did die. A senator. That's literally our job. You know what I mean." Sarah's voice softens. "Talk to me, Marcus." He wants to. He wants to lay it all out. The photograph, the alias, the impossible timing of it all. But saying it out loud makes it real. And if it's real, then everything he's felt for Elena might be a lie. "I'm fine," he says. "Just tired." Sarah doesn't believe him, but she knows when to push and when to let it go. "Okay, but whatever you're chasing, be careful. This case has dirty fingerprints all over it. People who kill senators don't leave loose ends. After she leaves, Marcus opens his desk drawer and pulls out a small velvet box. Inside is a silver bracelet he bought 2 weeks ago. He'd planned to give it to Elena this weekend. Now it feels like evidence of his own stupidity. His phone buzzes again. Another text from Elena. "Marcus, you okay?" He finally types back. "Yeah, long night. Rain check on coffee?" 3 dots appear, then disappear, then appear again. Finally, "Of course, be safe." Marcus stands, grabs his coat, and makes a decision. He needs to see her apartment, not as a boyfriend, as a detective. If Elena is involved in Castellano's murder, there will be evidence. And if he's wrong, if somehow all of this is an elaborate coincidence, then he needs to know that too. Because right now he's falling in love with a woman who might be a killer. And the worst part? Even knowing what he knows, he's not sure he cares. Elena's apartment is in the old district, a converted warehouse with exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. Marcus has been here dozens of times, but never with a purpose like this. Never as an intruder. He uses the spare key she gave him 3 weeks ago. "In case you ever want to surprise me," she'd said with a smile that made his chest ache. It's 4:30 a.m. now. Elena is in Chicago, or so she told him. A 3-day trip for a client acquisition. Marcus has maybe 6 hours before she could potentially return early. The apartment is exactly as he remembers. Minimalist furniture, expensive but understated. Art books stacked on the coffee table. The faint scent of her perfume, something with jasmine and cedar, lingers in the air. Marcus moves methodically, the way he would at any crime scene. Living room first. Nothing unusual. Kitchen, clean, organized, a half-empty bottle of wine they shared last week still on the counter. Bedroom. He pauses at the threshold. This feels like a violation beyond the legal breaking and entering. This is personal space. Intimate. The bed where she slept beside him, where she's whispered confessions in the dark about her difficult childhood, her distant family, her fear of letting people close. Were those lies too? Marcus forces himself forward. He checks the nightstand. Books, a journal he won't read, reading glasses. The closet is organized by color. He runs his hands along the shelf above, finding only shoeboxes, actually containing shoes. The bathroom yields nothing. He's starting to feel foolish, starting to hope he's wrong, when he notices something in the bedroom. A seam in the hardwood floor, barely visible beneath the area rug. Marcus pulls back the rug. There's a small panel, expertly concealed. He pries it up with his pocket knife. Inside is a lockbox. His heart hammers as he examines the lock. It's sophisticated, biometric. He can't open it without leaving evidence of tampering. But its very existence is damning. People don't hide lockboxes under their floors unless they have something to hide. Marcus photographs everything, the location, the lock, the serial number, and carefully replaces the panel and rug exactly as he found them. As he's leaving, he notices something he's somehow missed before. On Elena's bookshelf, between volumes on Renaissance art and modern sculpture, is a small photograph in a silver frame. It shows a young girl, maybe 8 years old, standing with an older man. The man's face has been carefully scratched out, obliterated. Marcus picks up the frame, studies the girl. She has Elena's eyes, her delicate features. But there's something haunted in her expression. Something that makes Marcus's detective instincts flare. He photographs the picture and leaves. Outside, the city is beginning to wake. Early morning joggers, delivery trucks, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery on the corner. Marcus sits in his car and pulls up facial recognition software on his laptop, running the image of the young girl from Elena's photograph. While it processes, he calls a contact at the FBI. Agent Torres owes him a favor from a case 2 years ago. "Hale, it's 5 in the morning. I need you to run a name for me, off the books. Victoria Crane." Torres is quiet for a moment. "That name connected to the Castellano hit?" "Possibly. Why?" "Because Victoria Crane has been on our radar for 3 years. High-end fixer. Specializes in making problems disappear for people with money and power. No confirmed kills, but she's been adjacent to at least 6 suspicious deaths." Marcus feels something cold settle in his stomach. "You have a description?" "No good photos. She's a ghost. Mid-30s, possibly Eastern European background based on linguistic analysis from intercepted communications. Uses multiple identities. Why are you asking about her?" "Following a lead." "Marcus, if you're on to Victoria Crane, you need to bring this through official channels. This woman is extremely dangerous. She's connected to some serious players." "I will. Just need to confirm a few things first." He hangs up before Torres can press further. The facial recognition software beeps. It's found a match for the girl in the photograph. Marcus clicks on the result, and his blood runs cold. The girl's name is Elena Volkov. Born in Moscow, 1990. Daughter of Dmitry Volkov, a mid-level oligarch with ties to organized crime. Dmitry Volkov died in a car bombing in 1998 when Elena was 8 years old. The murder was never solved, but intelligence reports suggest it was ordered by a rival faction. After her father's death, Elena disappeared from public records. No death certificate, no immigration records. Just gone. Until 6 months ago, when she appeared in this city under the name Elena Voss. Marcus leans back in his seat, processing. Elena isn't just connected to the case. She's been operating under a false identity, and if FBI intel is right, she might be a professional killer. But none of this explains why. Why would Elena, or Victoria Crane, or whoever she really is, kill Senator Castellano? What's the connection? His phone rings, unknown number. Detective Hale, we need to talk. The voice is male, distorted, using some kind of voice modulator. About Elena Voss. Marcus sits up. Who is this? Someone who knows what you've discovered, and someone who can help you understand what you're really dealing with. There's a parking garage on 5th and Lexington. Level 3, northeast corner. 1 hour. Come alone, or Elena dies. The line goes dead. Marcus stares at his phone. Every instinct screams trap. This is how cops get killed, showing up alone to meetings with anonymous contacts. But if there's even a chance this person has information about Elena, about why she's done what she's done, he checks his service weapon, makes sure it's loaded, and starts driving. The parking garage is industrial, dimly lit. At 6 a.m., it's mostly empty. Marcus parks on level 2 and approaches level 3 on foot, staying close to the walls, hand near his weapon. The northeast corner is shadows and concrete pillars. Marcus sees a figure standing beside a black sedan. Detective Hale, thank you for coming. The voice is no longer distorted. It's smooth, cultured, with a faint accent Marcus can't quite place. The man steps into a shaft of pale morning light. He's tall, 50s, expensive suit, salt and pepper hair. His face is familiar in a way Marcus can't immediately identify. Who are you? My name is Alexei Volkov, Elena's uncle. Marcus's hand moves to his weapon. She said she had no family. She has no family she can trust. There's a difference. Alexei raises his hand slowly, showing he's unarmed. I'm not here to hurt you, detective. I'm here to warn you. Elena is in danger, and so are you if you continue investigating the senator's death. Why should I believe anything you say? Because I know what you found in her apartment. The lockbox, the photograph, and I know you've been digging into her past. Alexei's expression is grim. Elena is not who you think she is, but neither is she who everyone else believes her to be. Then tell me who she is. A woman seeking justice for her father's murder. A woman who spent her entire life preparing for one thing, revenge. Senator Castellano was not an innocent man, detective. He was the architect of my brother's death, and Elena has been tracking him for 20 years. Marcus processes this. Even if that's true, murder is murder. I can't just look the other way. Can't you? Alexei's gaze is penetrating. You're in love with her. I've been watching you both for months. The way you look at her, the way she's opened up to you in ways she hasn't with anyone since she was a child. You think I don't see that? How long have you been watching us? Long enough to know that Elena never meant for this to happen. She never meant to care about you. It's complicated things considerably. Alexei moves closer. The senator's death was justice, not murder. My brother was a good man trying to expose corruption at the highest levels. Castellano had him killed and made it look like an accident. Elena has spent her entire adult life building the skills, the connections, the identity necessary to get close to him. If she wanted justice, she should have come to the police. With what evidence? Everything was buried decades ago. The people who killed my brother are powerful, detective. They own judges, politicians, entire police departments. The official channels weren't an option. Marcus shakes his head. I can't. This isn't how the law works. The law, Alexei says bitterly. The law failed my brother. It failed Elena. And it will fail you if you pursue this. The people Castellano worked for won't let his murder be solved if it leads back to them. You're already a liability, detective. The only reason you're still alive is because Elena has been protecting you. Protecting me? You think it's coincidence that every lead in this case seems to evaporate? That witnesses suddenly disappear before you can interview them? Elena has been running interference, keeping you away from the truth so you don't become a target. Alexei's voice softens. She cares about you, detective. More than she's cared about anyone in a very long time. That's why I'm here, to give you a choice. What choice? Walk away. Close the case as unsolved. Let Elena disappear. She'll leave the city, start over somewhere new. You'll never see her again, but you'll both be alive. Or continue investigating, arrest her, and watch her die in prison, if she even makes it to trial. The people she's crossed will kill her the moment she's vulnerable. And then they'll kill you for knowing too much? Marcus feels his world tilting. Everything he believed about justice, about right and wrong, is suddenly murky. You're asking me to betray everything I am. I'm asking you to save the woman you love, and yourself. Alexei hands him a burner phone. Elena doesn't know about this meeting. She'd be furious if she did. She thinks she's protecting you by keeping you in the dark, but you deserve the truth. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, other forces will make the decision for you. What other forces? But Alexei is already walking away, disappearing into the shadows of the garage. Marcus stands alone, the burner phone heavy in his hand, and realizes his neat categories of guilty and innocent, right and wrong, have just shattered completely. Marcus doesn't go home. He drives to the precinct, goes straight to the evidence room, and pulls every file related to the Castellano case. Then he starts digging into something he should have researched from the beginning: Dmitry Volkov's death in 1998. The files are old, mostly digital scans of paper records. Car bombing in Moscow. Volkov was a businessman, minor political connections, suspected of money laundering but never charged. Official investigation concluded it was gang-related, no suspects ever arrested. But Marcus finds something interesting in the American intelligence reports from that era. Dmitry Volkov had been scheduled to meet with U.S. officials the week after his death. He was offering to provide information about corruption in the Russian government and its connections to organized crime in America. The meeting was being coordinated through the office of then-Congressman Richard Castellano. Marcus sits back, mind racing. If Volkov was killed because he was going to expose corruption, and if Castellano was the American contact, did Castellano betray him? Did he tip off the people who wanted Volkov silenced? He pulls up Castellano's history. Elected to Congress in 1995, rising star, anti-corruption platform. But after 1998, his political positions shifted. He became more business-friendly, less aggressive about investigating financial crimes. His campaign contributions started coming from different sources: corporations, wealthy donors with opaque backgrounds. It fits. Castellano was either bought off or threatened, and Elena spent 2 decades planning her revenge. Marcus's phone rings. Sarah. Where are you? Captain's looking for you. Working the Castellano case from home. Needed quiet to think. Well, think faster. FBI just contacted us. They're taking over the investigation. Something about national security concerns. They want all our files by end of day. Marcus feels his pulse quicken. Did they say why? No, but the captain's pissed. We're being shut out of our own case. Sarah pauses. Marcus, what's really going on? I don't know yet, but Sarah, if something happens to me, don't talk like that. Just listen. If something happens, there's a file on my personal laptop. Password is Ophelia. My sister's name. Open it. Everything I found is in there. Marcus, you're scaring me. I hope I'm being paranoid, but if I'm not, you need to know where to look. He hangs up before she can argue. The burner phone Alexei gave him buzzes. A text message. She's coming back early. Tonight, 8 p.m. flight. This is your last chance to see her before you decide. Marcus checks his watch. It's 2 p.m. 6 hours. He makes a decision. He's going to confront her, not as a detective making an arrest, but as a man who needs to hear the truth from the woman he loves. At 7 p.m., Marcus waits outside Elena's apartment. His weapon is in his shoulder holster, but he's not sure if he could actually use it. Not on her. She arrives at 7:45, wheeling a small suitcase, looking tired. When she sees him sitting on the steps, surprise and concern flash across her face. Marcus, what are you doing here? I thought you needed space. We need to talk. Something in his voice makes her freeze. What's wrong? Inside. She unlocks the door, and they climb the stairs in silence. Inside her apartment, Elena sets down her suitcase and turns to face him. You're scaring me. What happened? Marcus pulls out the photograph, the security footage from the Meridian Hotel. He sets it on her coffee table. Elena's face goes completely blank. That terrifies him more than any reaction could have. I know you were there, Marcus says quietly. The night Senator Castellano died. You told me you were in Boston, but you were here, in that hotel. Elena is silent for a long moment. When she finally speaks, her voice is different, harder. Who else knows? Right now, just me. The FBI is taking over the case tomorrow, but before that happens, I need to hear the truth. From you. Not from your uncle. From you. Her eyes widen slightly. You spoke to Alexei. He told me about your father, about Castellano's involvement, about your 20-year plan. Marcus steps closer. Is any of it true, or was that another lie? It's all true. Elena moves to the window, looking out at the city lights. My father was going to expose a criminal network that stretched from Moscow to Washington. Castellano was his American contact, the person who was supposed to protect him and get him asylum in exchange for his testimony. Instead, Castellano betrayed him. He told the network what my father was planning. They killed him. How do you know Castellano betrayed him? Because I spent 15 years finding proof. Documents, communications, bank transfers. Castellano was paid $3 million 2 days before my father died. I have the entire paper trail. Then why not go to the authorities with it? Elena laughs bitterly. The authorities? Marcus, The network my father was trying to expose includes judges, prosecutors, FBI agents. Do you think I could just walk into a police station with evidence and expect justice? They'd have me killed before I finished giving my statement. So you decided to kill Castellano yourself. I decided to do what the law couldn't, what it wouldn't. She turns to face him, and there are tears in her eyes now. I was 8 years old when they murdered my father. I watched our house burn. I was sent to live with distant relatives who barely knew me. I had no one, nothing except the memory of my father and the knowledge that the man who betrayed him was living in freedom, wealth, and power. Elena, do you know what it's like to watch your father die, Marcus? To know exactly who killed him and why, and to be completely helpless? To grow up knowing that justice is a fairy tale told to children to make them feel safe? Marcus's throat is tight. I know you've been hurt. I know you've suffered. But murder, don't call it murder. Her voice cracks. Don't stand there and use that word like it means something. Castellano murdered my father. He murdered dozens of people over the years. Anyone who threatened to expose the network. He just did it through intermediaries, through hired killers, through channels so murky they're impossible to trace. His hands never got dirty. But mine? She holds them up. Mine are covered in blood. And I don't regret it. I can't. Marcus takes a step toward her. Why didn't you tell me? Any of this? We've spent 6 months together. You could have trusted me. Could I? Elena's eyes search his face. You're a detective, Marcus, a good one. Your entire identity is built on following the law, on believing in the system. How could I tell you what I was planning? How could I ask you to choose between your oath and us? So instead you lied. You let me fall in love with someone who doesn't even exist. Elena Voss exists. She closes the distance between them, desperate now. Everything between us was real. My feelings for you are real. I never planned for this to happen. I never planned to care about anyone. You were supposed to be part of my cover, just another piece of the identity I'd built. But then you made me laugh. You listened when I talked. You made me feel safe for the first time since I was 8 years old. Tears are streaming down her face now. I tried to keep my distance. I tried to protect you by staying away. But I couldn't. I fell in love with you, and it terrified me because I knew that eventually you'd have to choose, and I knew what choice you'd make. Marcus feels his own eyes burning. I'm a cop, Elena. I can't just... Then arrest me. She steps back, holds out her wrists. Do it. Put the handcuffs on. Take me in. Watch them kill me in custody, because that's what will happen. Or watch them bury my testimony so deep it never sees daylight. And then watch them come after you for knowing too much. It doesn't have to be like that. Yes, it does. That's exactly how it has to be. Because we don't live in a world where justice actually works, Marcus. We live in a world where power wins. Always. The only question is whether you're going to sacrifice us both to maintain the illusion that the system works, or whether you're going to wake up and see the truth. Marcus pulls out his handcuffs. Elena's face crumbles, but she doesn't move. He sets the handcuffs on the table between them. I need time, he says, to think, to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do with this. You don't have time. The FBI takes over tomorrow, and the moment they do, they'll find the same evidence you found. Probably faster because they're looking for it. You have maybe 12 hours. Then I have 12 hours, Marcus turns toward the door. Elena's voice stops him. Marcus, whatever you decide, thank you for listening, for not immediately arresting me, for giving me this moment. He looks back at her. She's standing in the middle of her apartment, looking small and broken and beautiful. I love you, she says. That's probably the most selfish thing I could say right now, but I need you to know it. I love you, and I'm sorry for all of it. Marcus leaves without responding because he doesn't trust his voice. In his car, he sits in the dark and makes a phone call. Torres, it's Hale. I need to know something. If I brought you evidence of a criminal conspiracy involving the murder of a federal witness 20 years ago, evidence that implicated government officials and organized crime, would it go anywhere? Honestly, Torres is quiet for a long time. How solid is the evidence? Very. Documents, financial records, communications. And who's involved? People with power. Enough power to make things disappear. Another long silence. Marcus, officially, I'd say yes. We'd investigate, follow the evidence wherever it leads. But off the record, if it's as big as you're suggesting, there are channels things go through. Committees, reviews, political considerations. Evidence can get lost. Witnesses can refuse to cooperate. Cases can die quietly. That's what I thought. Why are you asking? Just covering bases. Thanks, Torres. Marcus hangs up and stares at his phone. Sarah is right. He looks like hell. He feels like hell because he's standing at a crossroads and every direction leads to betrayal. If he arrests Elena, he betrays his heart. He sends the woman he loves to prison or death. If he lets her go, he betrays his oath. Everything he's built his life on, his integrity, his identity as someone who enforces the law. But there's a third option forming in his mind. It's crazy. It's illegal. It might get them both killed. But it's the only way he can see where maybe, no one has to lose. Marcus starts the car and begins driving. He has 12 hours to pull off the impossible. At 3 a.m., Marcus breaks into the FBI field office. He's been here dozens of times for joint task forces, knows the security protocols, knows which cameras have blind spots. He's also still technically authorized to be in the building, even if not at this hour and not for this purpose. He makes his way to the evidence archives, finds the files from 1998, everything related to the Volkov case. He photographs every document, every file, every piece of evidence that was buried decades ago. Then he accesses the current Castellano investigation files. The FBI has already accumulated everything Marcus's team had, plus more. Witness statements, financial records, security footage. Marcus systematically goes through it, planting his own narrative. He alters timestamps on key documents. He adds notes suggesting a different suspect, a name he creates from scratch, a ghost that the FBI will waste time chasing. He's careful, subtle, nothing that will be immediately obvious, but enough to buy time. Then he does something that could destroy his career even more thoroughly than what he's already done. He deletes the security footage showing Elena at the Meridian Hotel. All copies. He replaces it with footage from a different date, carefully edited to look seamless. It won't hold up under serious scrutiny, but it might buy Elena 24 hours, maybe 48. That's all he needs. At 5 a.m., Marcus meets Alexei at a diner on the edge of the city. The older man is already there, drinking black coffee and looking unsurprised. "I need your help," Marcus says without preamble. Alexei studies him. "You've decided." "I've decided that the system is broken, that sometimes justice exists outside the law, and that I'm not willing to sacrifice the woman I love to maintain a fiction." That's quite an evolution for a detective. "Yeah, well, love makes you stupid." Marcus slides a USB drive across the table. "This is everything. All the evidence Elena compiled on Castellano and the network he worked for. All the proof of your brother's murder, the conspiracy, everything. I've also added the evidence I collected from the current investigation. It's complete, irrefutable, and enough to bring down at least 15 high-ranking officials and business leaders." Alexei picks up the drive. "What do you want me to do with it?" "Take it to someone who can actually use it. A journalist, maybe. Someone with a platform and the courage to publish even when powerful people tell them not to. Make it public. Once it's out in the open, it's harder to bury." "And Elena?" "Elena disappears. New identity, new city, new life. I'm assuming you have the resources to make that happen." "I do. But Detective..." Alexei leans forward. "Once this information goes public, there will be investigations. You'll be interviewed. They'll ask what you knew and when you knew it. Are you prepared for that?" "I'll tell them the truth, that I investigated the Castellano murder, found evidence of a larger conspiracy, and turned that evidence over to appropriate channels. I'll say I didn't know where Elena was. They won't believe you. Probably not. But they won't be able to prove I knew. Not if we're careful." Marcus meets Alexei's eyes. "I'm sacrificing my career for this. Maybe more. But I'm not sacrificing Elena. And I'm not letting the people who killed your brother keep getting away with murder." Alexei is quiet for a moment, then nods slowly. "You're a better man than I expected, Detective Hale. Elena is fortunate. Elena is going to hate me for this, for making this decision without her input. Perhaps she'll realize that, for the first time in 20 years, someone is protecting her instead of asking her to be the protector." Alexei stands. "There's a cargo ship leaving the harbor tonight at midnight. Container vessel bound for Hamburg. Elena needs to be on it." "I'll make sure she is. And you? What will you do after this?" Marcus gives a tired smile. "Face the music, I guess. Whatever happens, happens. You could come with her, you know. Disappear together. Start over." The offer is tempting. For a moment, Marcus imagines it. A different life, a different city, Elena beside him without secrets between them. But he shakes his head. "My daughter is here. My family. I can't disappear on them, even for Elena. Besides, someone needs to stay and make sure the evidence gets taken seriously. If I run, they'll dismiss everything as the actions of a corrupt cop. A corrupt cop saving a murderer. A cop who discovered evidence of a decades-long conspiracy and made sure it couldn't be buried again." Marcus stands. "Make sure Elena knows. Tell her I'm sorry for not being brave enough to go with her. But tell her I don't regret any of this. Not meeting her, not falling in love, not what I'm about to do." Alexei extends his hand. Marcus shakes it. "She'll know," Alexei says. "And Detective, thank you for giving her a chance at a life she thought she'd lost forever." At 9 a.m., Marcus returns to the precinct. Sarah is at her desk looking exhausted. Where have you been? Chasing ghosts. Marcus sits down. Sarah, I need to tell you something. Over the next hour, he tells her a carefully edited version of the truth. He explains finding evidence of a larger conspiracy connected to Castellano's murder. Evidence of corruption going back decades. He tells her he's compiled everything and sent it to a journalist he trusts. What he doesn't tell her is Elena's involvement, or his own feelings, or the choice he's made. Sarah listens, her expression growing darker. Marcus, if what you're saying is true, this is going to explode. People are going to go down. Important people. I know. And you're going to be right in the middle of it. They're going to investigate you, question your methods, try to discredit you. I know. She leans back, studying him. This is about her, isn't it? Elena. Marcus doesn't confirm or deny. This is about doing what's right when the system can't. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Sarah is quiet for a long moment. Then she nods. Okay, whatever you need. I've got your back. You might want to reconsider that. This could blow back on you, too. Partners stick together, even when one of them is being an idiot. She almost smiles. Especially then. At 6 p.m., Marcus goes to Elena's apartment one last time. She opens the door, surprise and hope and fear all warring on her face. Marcus, pack a bag. You're leaving tonight. What? He steps inside, closes the door. There's a cargo ship leaving at midnight. You need to be on it. Your uncle will give you the details. Elena shakes her head. I don't understand. What did you... I did what I had to do. Marcus hands her an envelope. New identity documents. Passport, driver's license, bank cards. There's money in the account. Enough to start over. She opens the envelope with shaking hands. Marcus, you can't... You're a cop. This is... I know what it is, and I've made my choice. He cups her face in his hands. I can't fix the past. I can't bring your father back or erase what was done to you. But I can give you a future. A real one. Away from all this. Tears spill down her cheeks. Come with me. I can't. Why not? Because someone needs to stay and make sure the truth comes out. And because, he kisses her forehead, because I have a daughter, family, a life here. I can't just disappear, even for you. So this is goodbye. This is goodbye. Elena wraps her arms around him, holding on like she's drowning, and he's the only solid thing in the world. Marcus holds her back, memorizing the feel of her, the smell of her perfume, the sound of her breathing. I love you, she whispers. I love you, and I'm sorry for all of this. I love you too, and I'm not sorry, not for any of it. He pulls back, looks into her eyes. You gave me 6 months of feeling alive again, of remembering what it's like to hope for something beyond the next case, the next crime scene. That's worth everything. Will I ever see you again? Marcus doesn't answer, because they both know the truth. Once she leaves, once the evidence goes public, once the investigations start, they can never have contact again. Any connection between them would endanger them both. Go, he says. Start over. Have the life your father would have wanted for you. And, Elena, don't look back. She kisses him one last time, desperate, heartbroken, final. Then she steps away and starts packing. Marcus leaves while she's still throwing clothes into a suitcase, because if he stays any longer, he won't be able to let her go. The story breaks on a Tuesday morning. Major news outlets simultaneously publish a massive exposé, the Castellano Network, 3 decades of corruption, murder, and conspiracy. The evidence is overwhelming, irrefutable. Documents, financial records, communications, everything meticulously compiled and impossible to dismiss. Within 24 hours, 3 senators resign. A federal judge is arrested. The FBI opens investigations into 17 high-ranking officials. The scandal dominates every news cycle. And at the center of it all, as a whistleblower who heroically exposed the conspiracy, is Detective Marcus Hale. Of course, it's not that simple. Internal Affairs investigates his methods, questions how he obtained certain information, raises concerns about the chain of custody for evidence, but nothing sticks. Marcus's story, that he stumbled onto the conspiracy while investigating Castellano's murder and diligently pursued every lead, holds up under scrutiny, mostly because it's essentially true. He just leaves out one crucial detail. The woman who actually killed Castellano. Elena is never mentioned in any of the reporting. The official theory is that Castellano was killed by a professional assassin hired by nervous co-conspirators who feared he was about to cooperate with federal investigators. Without Elena in the picture, there's no one to arrest, no one to prosecute for the actual murder. The case remains technically unsolved. Marcus sits in his apartment on a Saturday night, watching the news coverage, drinking bourbon that tastes like regret. His career survived somehow. He's even being called a hero by some. The mayor commended him. The FBI offered him a position in their public corruption unit. He turned it down. Sarah was right. People went down, important people, and Marcus was in the middle of it all, testifying before grand juries, being interviewed by federal prosecutors, watching as the conspiracy he helped expose unraveled in real time. But none of it feels like victory. It feels hollow, because somewhere, he doesn't know where, and that's by design, Elena is living a life he'll never be part of. She's safe, she's free, but she's gone. His phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Thank you. That's all. 2 words. But Marcus knows who it's from. He knows he should delete it immediately, not risk any connection. Instead, he saves it. 3 months, and this is the only communication they've had. It will probably be the last. Marcus types back, "Be happy." He sends it, then destroys the burner phone, dropping it in the river on his walk home. Life continues. Cases pile up. Sarah partners with him on a series of robberies. Marcus's daughter visits for dinner on Sunday nights. The world keeps turning. But sometimes, late at night, Marcus wonders what Elena is doing. If she's sleeping better, now that her father's killers have faced justice. If she thinks about him the way he thinks about her. If she found peace, or at least something close to it. He'll never know. And maybe that's how it has to be. Love sometimes means letting go, even when every part of you wants to hold on. Marcus pours another drink and tries not to calculate how many years until he can retire. Move somewhere quiet, start over himself. Probably too many. His phone rings. Sarah? Asking if he wants to grab dinner. He says yes because sitting alone with his thoughts is worse than pretending everything is normal. As he's locking his apartment, Marcus notices something slipped under his door. A small envelope unmarked. Inside is a photograph. It shows a beach at sunset, somewhere tropical. The ocean is impossibly blue, and written on the back, in handwriting he recognizes, "The view from where I finally stopped running." No signature, no return address. Just proof that somewhere, Elena found a place that feels like home. Marcus puts the photograph in his wallet next to the picture of his daughter. Then he goes to dinner with his partner and lies about why he's smiling. 6 months later, Marcus is assigned a new case. A body found in the river, execution style. The victim is a man named Thomas Brennan, a mid-level bureaucrat in the State Department. Marcus doesn't think much of it at first, just another murder in a city full of them. But then he starts digging into Brennan's background and finds something interesting. Brennan was one of the people named in the Castellano conspiracy. He testified before the grand jury, received immunity in exchange for cooperation. He'd been living in witness protection. Someone found him anyway. Marcus follows the investigative trail. The killer was professional, careful, no witnesses, no forensic evidence, just like the Castellano murder. And then Marcus finds something in Brennan's apartment, a photograph deliberately left behind. It shows the same beach, the same sunset. The back is blank. Marcus stares at it for a long time. The message is clear. Elena hasn't stopped. The network that killed her father is still being dismantled, one name at a time. And she's making sure Marcus knows that she's out there, still fighting, still seeking justice in the only way she knows how. He should report this, should connect the dots officially, should try to track her down. Instead, Marcus pockets the photograph. Find anything? Sarah asks from the doorway. No, Marcus lies. Nothing useful. He closes the case file and adds Thomas Brennan to the growing list of unsolved murders connected to the Castellano conspiracy. The official theory is that it's cleanup, the remaining network members eliminating anyone who testified against them. No one looks for Elena because no one knows to look for her. And Marcus? Marcus goes home that night and adds the second beach photograph to his wallet, next to the first one. He doesn't sleep well. He hasn't slept well in months, because he's in love with a ghost, complicit in murders he can't officially condone, and trapped in a moral gray area he never imagined he'd inhabit. But when he looks at those photographs, he feels something he hasn't felt in a long time. Hope that somewhere in the world, the woman he loves is finally finding peace. Even if it costs other people their lives. Even if it costs him his soul. Marcus closes his eyes and wonders, not for the first time, whether he made the right choice. Then he wonders whether there ever was a right choice. And then he stops wondering and tries to sleep, knowing that tomorrow will bring another case, another investigation, another opportunity to enforce laws he no longer fully believes in. Because that's what love sometimes demands. Not grand gestures or happy endings, but the quiet sacrifice of everything you thought you believed in for the sake of protecting someone whose darkness you've learned to accept. Marcus Hale is a detective who let a killer go free, and he'd do it again without hesitation. That knowledge should terrify him. Instead, it's the only thing that feels real.